Alright guys, it's Dokkan time, and today's how you should build is going to be for Zamasu and Piccolo. Now, once again, like in previous videos, this is more of just kind of a, hey, you're a newer player, you're summoning on an awesome banner. I don't know how to build this unit, but I have dupes of it, so I would like to know how. You know, it's not for every, veteran player, and that's fine. You could also figure out what kind of, I don't know, hidden potentials I like. Yeah, anyways. So we're going to start off with Zamasu, and then after that we'll move on to Piccolo. Zamasu's a little bit easier. So once you get him awakened into his LR state, he, once again, for your hidden potential, it generally will never matter what the leader skill is. But, looking at his 12 key, he greatly raises attack and defense for one turn. And on his 18 key super attack, he massively raises attack, and then he just raises his defense. Now, this is still good. Like, don't get me wrong, this is still good. But obviously he gets the bigger buff from the 12 key. So the wording play is very annoying. So when it says massively raise attack and then raises defense, what it's saying here is that massively raise is actually 100% boost. So it's massively raising attack, but then and is applied, so you only raise the defense. And when it says raises defense, that's only a 30% raise once it's actually in between here. And as you can tell on the Dokkan info site, it actually shows you right here how much that defense raise is. So, oddly enough, his 12 key is giving him more defense, which is why my personal opinion, and probably a couple other people's opinion, is to straight up go full additional with Zamasu. Now, it's not to say that you shouldn't give him dodge, but let me go into why you should not give him crit. Because in his passive effect right here, high chance of performing a critical hit. Yes, high chance of performing a critical hit. A high chance is a 50% chance to crit. 50% chance. That's a very large number. In fact, the majority of people that are actually, putting orbs and whatnot into a unit will not even hit that percentage mark in the hidden potential. So 50% chance to crit is pretty good. That's a coin toss, my dude. That's a coin toss. So flip a coin. If it lands heads, you got a crit. If it lands tails, oh well. But aside from that, aside from the critting in there, let's see here. What else? He also launches an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack within the same turn of receiving an attack. So in this case, if you go for a full additional build, you have the potential to triple super. So what would that mean? That would mean that you would get a 30% raise on defense for his 18, and then you could get two 12 key additionals that would give you a total of 100% boost in defense. Now, a thing to keep in mind here, is that this unit does not have a very large amount of defense. It's not the most favorable thing, but unfortunately it is true. He doesn't have a very high defense. He can have a very high defense from additionaling, of course, but unfortunately, you do have to get those additionals out. So let's take a quick gander real quick at the rest of his kit here. So the main thing to think about here is that he has reduced damage received by 40%. That's fantastic. He also has a plus defense plus 50% when he receives an attack, or he gets another additional 50% when he's below HP of 70% or attack, and he's received an attack. So he can definitely get up there. You just don't see the numbers before you actually collect the orbs, because that's the thing. Like, a lot of people just kind of forget about the after applied effects. Zamasu is one of those units you'll just never really, and I mean, you won't really ever get to see his defense numbers right away. It's mostly after super attacking that you will get to see where his actual defense numbers are gonna be at. I'm actually trying to find the defense calculations that I had for Zamasu back when they announced him during the Dokkan Now. I think I almost found it. Yep, I found it. There we go. Give me 1 sec here. Alright, right here. So this is once again the compliments of Halvard over on Twitter. I appreciate you, dude. You're amazing. So, now, this is a very complicated string of defensive numbers. But basically, his maximum amount of defense he can possibly have is 700k. Which isn't really a lot when you think about it. But with 40% damage reduction on the normal, that's not a bad thing. That is only with a 40% boost, so if he doesn't have that 40% boost, then he's having to get off those additional supers, and as you can see down here, under 70% HP, post 18 key super, he's only hitting that 500 marker, which unfortunately 500k defense isn't really not much to like really brag about or anything of the form. So I would definitely say you really want to pump it up as much as possible with the hidden potential to get a much higher average defense number. That would be my suggestion, is just go full additional. It's not to say that you can't put a little bit of dodge into him. You can definitely put a little dodge. A little dodge is fine. In fact, a little dodge, put in the dodge after you run out of additional nodes. You will probably get anywhere in there between like 6 or 7 dodge, but I would really focus on the additional primarily, just to abuse not only increasing his defense when it is lower, but also to increase the amount of damage he's going to be doing, because this dude does a lot of bloody damage. He hits like a freaking Iseki truck. It's pretty gnarly. For the first couple of turns with the Zamasu on his first and second appearance, he will be fine. As once he activates his entrance animation, he reduces damage by 20% for 4 turns, plus an additional damage reduction of 20% for that first turn. So on his very first turn, this dude is damage reductioning 80%. He's a double Whis effect from his intro. But the thing is that it's from 4 turns from the start of turn. So that actually would mean that if he pops up turn 1, he'll have 80% damage reduction. The next time you'll see him won't be until turn 3, which by that time he'll be down 20% because this 20% right here is only for the first turn. So this applied with this 40% here is a 60%, which is still very good. But once he comes back around again for turn 5, he's officially out of his intro, and he only has the 40% damage reduction. At that point, he's not super duper safe in slot 1, which is also why, once again, dodge would also be a very, I would say, safe bet to also invest in. If you do not want to invest in additional, that's completely fine. But please, if I see anyone on my friends list with this dude having more than the 5 crit that he's stuck with, just because tech units have 5 crit initially, I will straight up delete you from my friends list. Because you don't need to give him crit. You need to give him additional or dodge. That's your choices. My opinion, full additional. And then a little bit of dodge. But, anyways, we're dragging this out a little. Now we must move on to the king. Yes, the king is who we move on to next. The king, who is Demon King Piccolo. Now, I unfortunately do not have any calculations for Demon King Piccolo. It's hard to rummage through all of Halvard's calculations. Eventually, I'm just going to have to ask him, like, on the regular, hey, can you calculate these or DM me these real quick? But unfortunately, I haven't pulled up the the courage to do such a thing. But anyways, so we got Demon King Piccolo right here. So for the newer players, this dude is freaking... He is... Whew, boy. This dude is probably one of the best units in the freaking game right now. And it's for a lot of good reasons. Primarily World Tournament. World Tournament players will tell you this dude is the king of games, basically. A king of World Tournament games. That and his other Piccolo unit, which is the STR Easy Aid second movie cooler Easy A Piccolo. That would be the other one. I'll show that one real quick. Just to... I'll go a little bit off topic real quick here. Where is he? This is the other king of World Tournament right here. If you have these two in your team on World Tournament, you're pretty much set. You're pretty much bloody set, for real. But anyways, getting off topic here. So, once again, how to build Piccolo. Now, once again, leader skill doesn't matter. His 12 key is just raise attack and defense for 1 turn, and then he has a 50% chance to stun. Now, looking at his passive, he has an entrance animation, and then he has a high chance of launching an additional super attack for 1 turn from the start of turn. So he has a little bit built-in additional right there already right off the bat. He's got a bunch of key multipliers, and then we have this right here, plus an additional attack and defense plus 20% with each super attack performed. Now, with a little bit of RNG, you could build that up real quick. He does have attacks effective against all types against 1 enemy. Now, I already said this before. I said it in my last video. Now I will say it again. Types effective against all attacks effective against all types is not critical. Okay. Types effective against all types has a 1.25 modifier. Okay? It has a 1.25 modifier of the same class. So if Piccolo is fighting another extreme unit, he's only getting a type, the type advantage multiplier is only 1.25. Now if he's fighting a super unit, he actually has 1.5, which is actually a much higher damage ratio. But critical moves, 1, ignore defense, so they're already doing more damage than the type advantage would be doing. And then they also have a damage modifier of 1.9. Yes, that means that if you're fighting another extreme unit, you're going to hit infinitely harder. Not quite double, but getting real close to that double range if you have crit. But anyways, moving on. I'm sorry, I apologize. the whole attacks effective against all types and critical kind of triggers me a little. But anyways, so he has also a built-in chance, medium chance of launching an additional super attack. Now keep in mind, medium's not a very high number. It's only 30% chance, but it's still there. It's still there. There is still a medium chance. So already off the bat, he has additional built-in right here. He's got additional built-in right here. He's got attacks effective against all types. What else do we have here? Plus an additional attack and defense for 60% with the same turn after receiving an attack. And then another additional attack and defense 100% and all enemies attack minus 30% as the first attack on a turn. Wow. Yeah. No, that's crazy. So in the first slot, he is getting an additional attack and defense 100%. And if he gets hit on that turn, he also gets an additional attack and defense plus 60%. That's a huge amount of extra defense in slot 1. It's not a crazy amount, but it's a good amount. Now, he also, oh boy, plus an additional attack and defense 100% when forming a super attack and high chance of launching an additional super attack as the second or third attacker in a turn. So how many extra supers was that? Hold up. So if he's in the second or third attacking slot, that's 1, That's 2. And that's 3. So, turn 1, if this dude has a high hidden potential of additional, he could quad super. That's nutty. That is truly nutty. Oh boy. So he's got a built-in additional, to say the least, and then he's got the attack effective against all types. But as you can see, there's no actual dodge. There is one thing I must note to everyone. He does have a giant form that will proc as soon as your HP is 60% or less starting from the 4th turn. In this state, he has a 50% chance to critical. He does. He has a 50% chance to crit. He has both attacks effective against all types and high chance of performing a critical attack. So basically what that means is that when he's in his giant form, it's just no matter what, it's one or the other. It's not a combo. It's not both at the same time. He's not getting attacks effective against all types modifier plus the critical hit. No, that's not how it works. It's a one or the other. If he doesn't crit, he'll get attacks effective against all types. If he crits, then he gets crit values. That's just how that works. So, moving back over to his normal state. Now, there's a couple ways you can build this guy. There's a couple different ways you can build this guy. And me personally, as not necessarily a big World Tournament buff, but as of recently of YouTube life, I do quite a bit of World Tournament. And when I do World Tournament, I stream all weekend and I am going nuts. I'm going crazy on it. So I have to basically tell you that personally myself, my go-to with this unit is straight up always going to be a full crit build. And that's because of his AoE. Because yes, he does also have an AoE. He has an active skill that causes mega colossal damage to all enemies, disables their action, and massively raises attack. So here's the reason I give him crit, is because when I'm in World Tournament, as long as I'm facing 2 or more enemies, and he's right there at the very start of a turn, I can just activate his active skill and blow away all of the enemies on the field. That's for World Tournament's sake, though. That's for World Tournament's sake. Would I suggest you go crit for him if you do not care about World Tournament? You could. You could. I think you could. I think you could come up with a logically sound reason to still go for a crit build with this Piccolo. Because, once again, he's already doing all the additionals. He's already got a very high defense number, especially in slot 1. And post-super, this dude's just not going to die. I mean, he's easily hitting the 1 million defense mark with how many additional supers he has. I would say probably by the 3rd super attack, he's nearing the 1 million defense mark. I'd say you're perfectly fine. There's no way that he's going to be dying anytime soon. Once again, I apologize. I don't have the defense numbers up for this Piccolo, but trust me when I say this dude carries you. He just carries you so hard. My suggestion, if you're a big World Tournament buff like myself, go for a full crit build. Now, on the other hand, if you're not a big World Tournament buff, then I could easily tell you to just go between, once again, an even good balance of additional and dodge. You don't have to go dodge. I think dodge is kind of a waste of this dude's talents. Personally, if you're not a dodge connoisseur, then I would suggest probably going a healthy mix of additional and crit. He doesn't really need the dodge. He has the 5 dodge already as an intelligence unit, which is fantastic. But I would say it's more of you're wasting how much real damage this unit can actually dish out. And I would preferably go for a more additional and crit build if I wasn't trying to focus World Tournament. Now, once again, we had this conversation in one of the other videos. There are just some units that straight up can do it all, man. You can build them however you want, and they're going to succeed and do amazingly well regardless of the circumstances. You can technically build this unit however you so choose. That's just Piccolo. That's just this Junior. That's just Junior. Piccolo Jr. That's him. He is him. He is just that godly. You can build him however you wish. My suggestion, though, is one of two builds. Or one of three builds. Make your choice. Either go full crit to be warning of World Tournament. Have a healthy mix of crit and additional to just straight up decimate everything. Or if you're one of the few people that feel that attack's effective against all types is just as good as crit, if you are one of those people that is like, I'm fine with attacks effective against all type, then by all means, go for the dodge and additional build. That is also a very viable choice. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just how you want to play and enjoy the game. I'm not here to judge. But I will definitely say, if you have a 55% Piccolo, I would try my best personally just to put all the rest into crit. You'll see he's already got all the additional in there. He doesn't need the dodge. If you're at 55%, just kind of build up crit. If you have 1 to 2 dupes, that's when I would say you can start focusing on something that you would prefer and just wait for the last dupe at that point. So I would not really say dodge and crit. I don't really see a purpose in giving him dodge as of right now. Maybe in the very far future, if Piccolo ever gets to a point where he is struggling. Piccolo just doesn't struggle in content right now. I don't foresee him struggling almost ever, especially if you have a 2-dupe freaking Piccolo Jr. here. I just don't see it happening. So I don't see the purpose in dodge other than to just say, yeah, he dodged a super. I think he could tank a good portion of the supers in the game and not give a crap. So I stand by my crit and additional choicings. I prefer more crit just because of World Tournament, but that's just me. You can, though, build this unit however you so choose. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to probably be it for this video. So just to wrap it up, Piccolo Jr., you can either go for a full crit and put the rest into additional to try and maximize your damage output, or you can build him the, of course, healthy dodge and additional build and just be an utterly tanky craziness unit that will just never die. This will be his end game build no matter what at the end of the day. You know, 2 years down the line when you're using this unit and difficult content has skyrocketed, you'll be wanting to change him eventually to a dodge build anyways. So up to you. I prefer to see big ooga unga bunga damage numbers with crit. And as far as Zamasu goes, once again, it is also the same thing of additional and crit, or additional and dodge, because he already has built-in crit into his kit already as it stands. So I personally, once again, would prefer to go full additional for Zamasu. Full additional for Zamasu, and then you can put the rest into dodge. That would be my suggestion. But anyways, guys, I hope this helped you decide how you wanted to build your Zamasu and Piccolo Jr. If you're new to the game, or maybe you're not new to the game and you're just wondering how is everyone else building their units. But anyways, guys, once again, this is just my opinion on how you should build these units. If you want to build them a different way, by all means, let me know how you built them down in the comments below. And I hope you all have a good day and a good night.